back to Cheers and Jeers. We watched Chopping Mall from 1986, and we're going to tell you what we thought about it. So, this came out the same year as the movie Short Circuit. Now, you saw that one too, right?
Yes, yeah.
And they did something that Hollywood does a lot, and you see this in a number of different years. You'll have two movies that have a lot of similarities just come out at the same time. Like, I forget what year it was, but you had the Armageddon movie and the Deep Impact movie, both big comets or asteroids gonna hit the Earth, and they came out at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And there've been a number of cases like that. And then these little robots in this movie, they look like small versions of the Short Circuit robot.
I was thinking the same thing. They look pretty close to identical almost. Except these ones shoot.
Yeah, these ones didn't have as good a personality.
Right.
But they did the same thing where they were acting perfectly normal and everything's good, and then all of a sudden there's a lightning strike. And that's,
right.
And so instead of just frying their circuitry and they're broken, it makes them go all berserk and act weird. And
reprograms them.
And that's like one of Hollywood's favorite things to explain when something unusual happens. It got struck by lightning, and now this magical third unexplained thing is occurring. When really in real life all lightning is going to do is just burn you up.
It's not short circuit or burn you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to give you superpowers or make a computer alive or anything like that. It just burns stuff up.
But it's an 80s movie, so yeah.
But in Short Circuit, it gave the robot this personality, and it was just this really lovable, friendly sidekick type character. In Chopping Mall, it turned them into sociopathic killers, and there's three of them, and then they started chasing people around, and that's the whole premise of the horror movie. Now you got this movie came out in 86. That's 2 years after Night of the Comet.
Yes, that actress Kelli Maroney was actually in both films, and also the mall used in that was also the mall in the Night of the Comet film. So there was two similarities there between those movies.
There were. In fact, I even caught another actress had a small role. She was one of the scientists in Night of the Comet. Had a little part in the beginning of this movie too. Not a very big part, okay. But it's just like, I kind of wonder if a lot of the same people put this movie together.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. But of course, being an 80s movie, yes, as you said, it is set. Well, this one's set entirely in a mall. A lot of the movies had at least some scenes in a mall. You had this one, Night of the Comet. A whole series were filmed in this exact same mall, as you've said. But
yeah.
Also, you had Fast Times at Ridgemont High. You had Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. All had very prominent scenes in a mall. So
yeah. Those two were one of the seven. Those two were that same mall.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me one bit. But it's interesting in some of these to see kind of the time capsule effect of things back in that era. And like they show this. They go into a clothing store and it's like a Monopoly themed clothing store. Now that's something I don't remember from the 80s. I remember the Monopoly board game.
Definitely.
I remember there being clothing stores. I don't ever remember Monopoly being a style of clothes. So why there was a Monopoly clothing store in that mall, I don't really know. But
in the 80s, yeah, it's you never know. But we grew up in the 80s, so we've seen pretty much everything, and you'd think you would have seen it, but
we had Coca-Cola shirts.
Oh, definitely, yes.
But so we're introduced into our protagonist here. Allison is working in a pizzeria in the mall, and she's got her co-workers there, and again another parallel to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where we meet one of the main characters working at in the pizzeria in the mall.
Oh yeah.
But she's approaching the end of her shift, and here's where it gets a little weird. She goes back to the locker room where they're all changing. Now, I know we both worked at a pizza place when we were in high school.
Oh yeah.
And
2 years, yeah.
you know, so yeah, we both know all about, you know, the cooking of the pizzas and the delivery, and you got to wash dishes. One thing that never happened was you don't all get naked together.
Oh, right.
There's no locker room at the pizza restaurant. At the end of your shift, the waitresses and the cooks, you don't just go all changed together in some fictional locker room. That's not how it works. But somehow in this movie, that's how it works. It's the end of their shift, and they all walk in back, and there's suddenly this locker room, and they're all stripping down naked, changing clothes together. So
yeah,
I guess that's a little bit of artistic license on the director's part, and they wanted to sell the movie a little bit, so.
80s movies again. A lot of these types of movies would have nudity in it for that reason, you know.
Yep.
Very common back then.
So they're all planning a party. A bunch of these people that work at the mall, and their idea of a party is they're going to hide out in the mall and kind of have a slumber party after it closes. And hey, okay, whatever floats your boat, I guess. I mean, so they do, and they you know, the mall's closing, and they've got you know, they're gonna camp out in this furniture store, and they're watching, you know, they're trying on different clothes and watching the TV and whatnot. And well, I mean, there's this cheesy line that just. The guy says to the girl, as they're sitting there flirting with each other, as they're all partying,
yeah.
The guy says to the girl, "You smell like pepperoni." I'm like, dude, that's not cool. I mean, that's not gonna that's not gonna get you anywhere. That's just bad writing.
I don't know. Maybe that's something to do with the pizza place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, she just got off the shift at the pizza place, so he was probably right.
Probably did smell like pepperoni.
But unbeknownst to these 8 teenagers, the mall had just instituted their new robotic security, and which consists of these little, like, 4-foot tall robots on tank tractor wheels, and then they get struck by lightning, and now they're psychotic killers. And so they're out patrolling the mall, and they see the teenagers have locked themselves in there for the night, and they start blowing them up. Now, okay, I get the premise that they got struck by lightning, and so now they're malfunctioning a little bit and making poor decisions.
Yeah.
But these things are armed with these laser guns that, I mean, they shoot at this guy, I mean, and his head explodes like someone shot a watermelon with a cannon. I mean, just...
That was some scene.
Why do the robots even have that hardware? That doesn't make any sense.
A little bit overboard on that, yeah.
No, when they were demoing the robots, they're like, oh, well, it has this little taser or sleeping dart or something built in that can just kind of disable somebody. It's like, but it also has this big laser cannon that can blow you to smithereens.
Oh boy.
But saw one familiar face in the movie. Veteran character actor Dick Miller was playing the janitor, and this guy, you rarely see him play any major roles. He always has just these little bit supporting roles that are just here and there in movies, but he's in a bunch of them. Like, he's the gun salesman that sells the Terminator a bunch of weapons in the first Terminator movie.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Before he very unfortunately gets blown away for his good deed, and
I don't know how that scene goes.
Yep. He was in Gremlins, he was in the movie Explorers, and a whole slew of others that I'm not thinking off the top of my head, but he's just got this kind of salt of the earth, kind of everyman personality to him. And he passed away a few years ago, and it was kind of neat to see him in another role that I didn't expect to see him in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And another sign of the times, the character's walking past, or he makes a special trip out to go get some cigarettes out of a cigarette vending machine.
Yeah, I thought that was. Yeah, they have a lot of cigarette usage in that movie. You don't see that anymore, but yep.
Yeah, you don't even see them smoking much in the movies anymore. But the whole notion of a cigarette vending machine, obviously it's not checking ID. I mean, those things haven't been around in a while.
Definitely 80s. Yeah.
But I think that main character, Allison, I've got a theory that this movie and Night of the Comet are, one of them's a sequel to the other, because she plays the same character. I mean, the personality is exactly the same, and then even in this movie, just like in Night of the Comet, all of a sudden she's like, although being kind of portrayed as like a stereotypical cheerleader or high school, all of a sudden she's like really skilled with guns. And so one of the male characters is trying and failing to shoot this gun, and she's like, "Oh, here, let me do it," and then she instantly does it like really well, and she's like, "Oh, my dad was a Marine," well, which is the same justification used in Night of the Comet for them being very good with guns. It's like, "Oh, Dad's a military guy."
Yeah, where they both had Uzis and were shooting up the car and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so these crazed robots are like chasing them around the mall. It already killed a couple of them and just completely tormenting them, and stuff's getting blown up and burnt and windows smashed in the process. And as they're trying to get away, one of the characters says to the other, it's like, "Oh my gosh, look at everything that's wrecked in here. We're going to be in debt to this mall until we're 85 years old." I'm thinking, I don't think you understand how this works. Their security system is malfunctioning and is traumatizing and killing some of you. You're not going to be in debt to the mall. If you make this out of this alive, you're going to be set for life after you sue the mall. It's the other way around.
Yeah. Boy, the security system. Yeah.
But yep, we got the same cliche that you could expect in a scene like this, a chase and shootout scene in a mall. There's a bunch of mannequins, and you guessed it, our heroes go and hide in between the mannequins, standing perfectly still, and hopes that the bad guys can't tell the difference between the mannequins and the real people. And wow, has that been done in a whole lot of movies.
I've seen that one before. Someone makes a little move and throw the tension.
But yeah, I don't think that the movie's probably won any awards for quality acting. It was a little on the cheesy side. And near the end, they're taking out these robots, and they damage one, and the robot starts saying laser malfunction, and that's, I guess, to let us, the audience, know that it can't use its laser anymore, that it's partially maimed. But why would it say that? Like, why would it feel the need to notify its opposition that its weapon no longer works? Hey guys, just so you know, my gun is broken. That doesn't seem to be all that useful.
Yeah.
But I'd say this movie and Night of the Comet were ahead of their times in one regard. I mean, a lot of the things coming out of Hollywood right now, they're trying to have these strong female leads, have a really tough, strong female protagonist that kicks butt, and you know, both of these had strong female leads.
That's exactly it. And in both these movies.
Yep, they're good with guns. They blow up the bad guys, and they came out
survivors.
Yep, they came out decades ago, so they were trailblazers ahead of their time.
Yep.
But overall, I'd say chop them all about average. I'd just have to give it a 5 out of 10. I think they could have done a little bit better with the acting and the effects. It's entertaining, but probably not on my top movies ever list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say about a 6. You know, I always sort of rate movies on if I would want to rewatch them again, you know, after I've seen them once. And this one, you know, I probably wouldn't see it another time, but it was entertaining, like you said, so I gave it about a 6.
Well, what do you think? If you want to leave your ratings in the comments, we'll take a look if you agree with us or disagree with us. And you got anything from the movie that you remember that we forgot to mention, let us know about that too. And until next time, keep watching those movies and keep cheering and jeering.